Hey, what's up, nerds? It's Paul at Radio Free Hammer Hall, and we are back again with yet another edition of WarHAMMERED. Tonight, we are making wild, completely uneducated guesses about what's going to be inside Broken Realms. And with me this evening, we have the return of Daka Dez and everyone's favorite little demon prince, Josh. We have the return of Daka Dez.
I'm a little demon prince.
Yeah, hold on. Who's that going?
Not me.
No more.
Damn it, Dez.
There's no more echo.
You fucked up his intro.
Okay. All right. So, with Broken Realms Morathi that we got so far, we got our first chapter of the story. Morathi became a god and decided to take over Anvilgard. That's basically the story so far. We got updated war scrolls and a new temple for Daughters of Cain. We got a couple of new cities for Cities of Sigmar. Slew of new stuff for Stormcast Eternals. 4 war scroll updates for Ideneth Deepkin and a new host for Slaves to Darkness, as well as a battalion that creates a named character, and the host makes all of your cultists battle line. So that's pretty cool. But we're not here to talk about Broken Realms, Morathi. We're here to talk about the rest of Broken Realms, everything that is to come. The unknown number of books that we may be getting. And there's going to be a reveal show tomorrow. So we will get to find out in part tomorrow whether or not we were horribly wrong.
We are going to be horribly wrong.
I can guarantee it.
This is always what happens.
Yeah.
It's going to be worse than whatever we say it is.
Yeah, and I think I think there's like a few things that I feel kind of solid on, but a lot of it's like how are like the Gits gonna get involved in this? I don't know. But they got to get involved in the plot somehow to get in the book, to get some updates. So overall thoughts on what we have so far from Morathi, gentlemen?
I think it's cooler. We got some new updates. It's looking hopeful for the future, and I'm looking forward to doing some speculation on that.
She looks really good, I guess. With COVID, I guess someday we'll find out.
I've played all this stuff already, but yeah.
You know, everybody knows that you have to make out with every player you're playing against, so we'll never get to see what it's like on the table.
I always lick my hand before the handshake.
Yeah, I always lick my opponent's face. It's part of the tradition. As is tradition.
Yeah, you always when you buy your opponent a drink, you take a sip of it first and make sure to backwash.
And then you spit out. Just the whole thing.
All right, boys. So
gross.
Now that we've established that we have no idea what's going on and no idea of what's to come, let's make some wild and bold predictions, shall we? How do we want to start this? Do we want to start by Grand Alliance? Do we want to do alphabetical order? Do we want to just shout out random shit?
Have they made any hints at like what the next Grand Alliance will be? Because it seems like, I mean, there's a lot more order alliances than just the ones mentioned in this book. So it's not like organized by like order, chaos, or maybe it is, because these are all older order armies, except for Sylvanas. Sylvanas deserved to be in here.
Yeah,
they need help.
I believe it were in the story. Like Alariel was a big part of the story anyway. Yeah. So she could have gotten a feature, but that might mean that she's got a bigger role to play coming up. So let's start at Sylvanas. Fuck it. Let's start at Sylvanas.
All right.
My prediction is new Alariel War Scroll.
I mean,
I don't know. Hers is good already.
no, it's not.
Everybody bitches about it.
Oh.
No, it's good at like, and it's not even good at staying alive. It's good at staying alive if it doesn't die. And most things in AOS do so much damage now that it's like she just doesn't live.
Maybe it's my dice rolling. The few times that I've come up against her, it's always been like, oh, she's got 2 wounds left, and then fully healed, and I summoned the shitload of stuff.
Well, right. Like if you don't kill her, she just like it's like you didn't do anything, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they got a white dwarf supplement. Andrew Simmons says for Sylvana.
Goblins, right?
Or goblins.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. They got their
trolls.
They got their Squigapalooza.
Yeah, I'm not.
Trolls, squigs, and it looks like spiders next white dwarf.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on Sylvanas other than new Alariel, probably? Because she's a key part of the story. And she's going to be pretty pissed that Meraki double-crossed her.
I just don't know what to do with that army. I couldn't. What do you do? Like they're like supposed to be very resilient. Maybe they'll have some like they already have summoning trees. What do you do with Sylvanas? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you get like Alariel and a battalion that has Alariel in it.
Maybe give Alariel some death saves. Like maybe she's like rather than just having her heal back to full, she's harder to kill.
Yeah.
I mean, like give her like you can only have 3 wounds per turn.
Something that says she's not going to die as much, right?
Yeah.
Because she just dies like a chump. That's been my experience with Alariel. She doesn't have a good way to stay alive, and she costs too much.
Yeah, maybe even if it's just like rend protection.
Sure, something. That's the other thing is like, what's the flavor of the week right now? Like ranged shit, right?
I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, that also is a good point. It's like who really knows? Because who's like not in enough of a lockdown that they're actually getting games in? It's basically just Australia, and their meta is fucked. So I have no idea.
So like, but like it's all like ranged stuff that's like super powerful. Like you've got like Seraphine, you've got KO, and you've got Zinch. So like Alariel's this gigantic model that everyone can see all the time. I don't know what do you have to do to protect it? Make it so you can't be shot within a certain range. I have no idea. Maybe they make it so that like Sylvanas trees end up being like Sylvanas woods, like revenants, like all their units block line of sight.
Maybe.
I don't know. What do you do? Like that would be kind of interesting. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're actually fighting a forest.
Yeah. I think part of what's going on with this too is that like you have to kind of predict the narrative to understand where the new stuff is going to be coming from.
Yeah. So what are they fighting now? Are they fighting corn?
I mean, I think my prediction is, and a lot of other people, like the bonds of Slaanesh in that like pocket realm have clearly been loosened.
Yeah.
And there is some other very powerful entity that Slaanesh has consumed that is more powerful than Morathi achieving godhood.
So then they're going to introduce Malakith. That's my prediction.
I'm going to say Malakith.
Malakith is coming back.
Yeah. I think that's a good possibility. That might be what the all of that everybody joking about vampirates, it might be elves.
Yeah, I've been hearing whispers about that yeah, if there might be a new like Grand Alliance shadow or something like that with Malakith, and
I mean, I think the what like so they're gonna do like a Grand Alliance, like a whole new Grand Alliance.
that's I'm not sure that's going to be a real thing. That's the hubbub, the buzz.
I could see that happening because, I mean, Marathi's coming out not really aligned with anybody anymore.
Yep. So should that, the guess is that she'd probably become part of that alliance as well.
Marathi's never been quote unquote aligned with anyone ever. She's always been like the black sheep of the Order army, and people just deal with her shit because she's such a pain in the ass. So I think Malakith comes back. It's my prediction. They announce Malakith, and he is a dragon now because he's now, what is his new name? He's got a new name, doesn't he?
Malarian?
Malarian, sure. Yeah. He's a dragon. He's now Malarian. And I don't know. I don't think he'll be similar to Marathi in the sense that he'll have two forms, but maybe just like I'm thinking like a giant, like almost like a bloodthirster, but like not a devil per se, almost like more in the same vein as
I can envision what you're speaking about right now.
Balakor, except more dragon-like.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
So are you thinking whole new army associated with that?
No. I mean, if Slaanesh devoured him and he's like aligned with Slaanesh, I think he's gonna be more like a generic chaos god, right?
Maybe. So while we're talking about Slaanesh, I mean, I think I'm gonna just call right now like the Slaanesh Mortal release. Like, and I think it's gonna be in Broken Realms. It'll be in it, like whatever book Slaanesh finally breaks the chains and gets out. And I'll get very specific with it. It is going to be 4 War Scrolls, 2 kits, like 2 double kits.
Wait, you're saying there's going to be a Slaanesh mini?
Not Slaanesh, like mortal Slaanesh followers.
Oh, okay. So like elite Slaanesh followers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Like the Bloodbound for Khorne and the Rotbringers for Nurgle, like their own, like Slaanesh's own mortal followers that they'll just get their War Scrolls will get dropped in, Broken Realms Slaanesh, which I assume is going to happen. And we'll get like 2 model kits out of it, but they'll both be double kits, so we get 4 War Scrolls, and then they'll probably get a battalion associated with them. Maybe a new host associated with them as well.
Okay. And I think that if they're going to release Slaanesh, then I think they'll likely. So all right, you've introduced these are the quote unquote protagonists of our story, right? In this book. I know that they're more anti-heroes, but they're the protagonists, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a villain, right? So that now they have to introduce the villain, which makes sense that it would be chaos, because death is kind of just this like it's kind of just this thing that exists, right? There's always death, and destruction is just like they're there.
Same.
It's always order versus chaos and death and destruction, right?
Yeah, and destruction is always like they could just randomly show up and foil somebody's plan.
Right.
As well as Skaven can randomly show up and spoil somebody's plan.
I think that the next book will be just like all chaos related stuff. I think you'll see some Nurgle stuff. I think you'll see if you have Slaanesh, I think you see Khorne stuff because like they have the story. I don't know if you see Tzeentch because Tzeentch just got a new book, but maybe a few War Scrolls and maybe if like a bonus faction for Tzeentch, if anything. Yeah,
I think I actually have a specific prediction for Nurgle.
Yeah,
when Nurgle eventually happens. So the 4 hosts that we got in Wrath of the Everchosen are actually in the lore in the book, but there's actually 6 of them. We got rules for 4. So my prediction is we just get the other 2 for Nurgle, and that's about it.
But isn't that more of a Slaves to Darkness style thing?
Another dip into the 8 points. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 2 more hosts for Nurgle, I think. I don't expect much more than that. There's no... Unless the other possibility is some named character out of the Nurgle book, it becomes like a key player in something somehow, taking advantage of there being nonsense going on in the realms and just, slipping in and infecting. The Glockkin got struck down in, I forget which book, but they got struck down, and maybe they could get a redemption. Because Nurgle likes to bring his people back, even his mortal followers. Sort of reconstitutes their bodies and stuff. So that's a possibility. Like, whoever it is, maybe it's the Magath Lords, maybe it's the Glockkin.
Oh, the Magath Lords could use a serious update.
They could. And the Glockkin also is a very expensive, very nice model that doesn't get played much. So I think there's a good possibility that they could play into the story just as like we want this thing to be a bigger part of it, be a bigger part of the game. Which, side note, like rereading the Glockkin recently, because I've been working on painting him up, I think he's better than people give him credit for. But
I always thought he was really good. I mean, a little flimsier than a Greater Unclean one, but still. The support he offers is ridiculous. It's really good. Not ridiculous, just can be really good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, they have the idolaters in here.
Yes. So that's all of the...
And that's chaos.
Basically. Yeah.
That's Slaves to Darkness. So, I really don't know. I'm thinking maybe they'll focus more on demon-related things, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
like
I guess
otherworldly style.
For chaos, when Slaanesh breaks out, what is the response of the other chaos gods? Are they all like, oh shit, we need to get Slaanesh like locked back up? Or is it an opportunity for them to be like, oh yeah, we got the whole band back together again. Let's
that's what I was thinking.
go wreak havoc. Khorne will probably be pissed.
Yep.
So you're thinking they want to make warbands that like pair them all together?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
So what do you think would come out for Khorne? You are a master of Khorne, Josh. What do you think Khorne could bring to the table?
Wizards. Lots of wizards.
I think Khorne will bring more blessings to the table. If they do anything Khorne related, it'll be additional tables for like blood tithe points. I think that's what it'll be. And then ideally, I'm hoping for permanent buffs from blood tithe points. Maybe you spend a blood tithe point and like your army gets plus X to like a stat line, right? For the rest of the game, where you get reroll wound rolls for the rest of the game, or some. Just I don't know how much that'll cost. I don't know what it should cost, but like I don't think those like blood tithe points are as good as they should be for the current way the game works.
And Khorne is a pretty old book at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty old, and it's still very fun to play. Like I don't want to say it's a bad book. Like I play games with people occasionally, and we kind of play fun games, and the ultra competitive versions of Khorne that I used to play are now just like fun armies to play against.
Mm-hmm.
And so, especially since you lost all those artifacts, maybe they'll introduce more artifacts, like interesting. Like here's a list of artifacts that only Chaos armies can take. because these are like found in the realm of chaos, and the demons or whatever, they bring them through the portal and they hand them to the mortals. Like here are chaos-oriented artifacts that like supplement the chaos style books after losing all those wacky artifacts we had in the magic book. What the hell was that called?
Malign Portents.
Malign Portents, yeah.
Malign Sorcery, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Yep. So we lost all that stuff.
Gus, what do you think on Khorne? Any predictions?
I like the idea of getting some extra artifacts, and you mentioned blessings. Like when I think of Khorne, I think of definitely them getting like their buffs from their priests screaming, stabbing people. So yeah, more blessings.
More blessings. I think honestly it would be cool if Nurgle had more like fun little things you could use spend points on.
Yeah. It would be interesting to be able to use your contagion points for things other than summoning and true.
Excuse me. So like, you can't really do everything has to be costed appropriately. But I definitely think you could use contagion points. And, you have the wheel. You can maybe you could start the game with a different wheel. Like I'm choosing this wheel, and like it completely changes the way the army runs. Like maybe they give you a new wheel. I don't know. That would be cool, right?
It would be cool if we got to spend contagion to move the wheel.
Yeah. Who knows? Like chaos is more powerful now, right? Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
Why not 2 new wheels? Because then it'll be like the symbol of Nurgle.
4 wheels, so we can make a car. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, it would be cool to have some more mortal. At least in the Khorne armies, it would be cool to have more mortal-oriented, like a more mortal-oriented focus. Right now, it's basically Bloodthirsters or bust, or Archaeon or bust. I think in the Khorne realm, and even then, I think that's like a 3-2 army, unless you're lucky in a big event, based on what I'm seeing. And then you know what I don't think they'll focus on in these new books? I don't think they're going to focus on death.
Yeah, because death was like the theme of the whole Malign Portent story arc. So I don't think they're getting much.
Right, and you just had the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and that was kind of like the ultimate. That was kind of like the culmination of death was OBR, right?
Yeah.
And then, now we're focusing on another aspect of the story. I think we're focusing on like things are descending into chaos again.
Right. So speaking of chaos, what's up with Skaven, do you think?
Oh, I hope to God they do something creative with them.
Clan Eshin. They had better do something with Clan Eshin. Everybody, and by everybody I mean me, has been dying for more Clan Eshin stuff. Their stat lines are terrible.
Ninja
I would love to see Clan Eshin hasn't had a new model since 2008. So I would love to see a new like Night Runner / Gutter Runners box, and that would be it. I'd be happy right there. Done happy. If there would be another like part of the army, I'd love to see an update in the stat lines, because they're. I feel like the Night Runners should be the melee ones, and Gutter Runners should be throwing stars. And just bear with me a moment while I bring up the.
How would you create gameplay mechanics to reflect Eshin though? Because they're like kind of like stocky ninja rats, right?
Yeah, it needs to be better too.
It needs to work like I was thinking about that. It's got to be all about the movement. So it's got to be something that almost works like holes, where maybe they just pop up wherever they want, or maybe they get a free redeployment, and you know how they get a free move now. They get a free redeployment and a move in a battalion before the game starts. I think that would help a bit with that
Yeah,
shadowy.
there's not an Eshin battalion, is there?
There is.
There is.
It's not a very good one. It gives all the units. Let me get it up. I just had it here. It gives it like rerolls. I'm not sure. It's not like anything like, yay, all my 6+ dudes are really going to be around for that to happen.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the abilities you're provided with don't really reflect the style of play that you're expecting out of Slaanesh, and they're kind of like assassins. So you're expecting them to appear, do some damage, maybe die.
Yep.
But like, if they don't die, maybe they kill their target. Like you get to use them
again. Lines are so terrible. They can't pop out and kill anything. They pop out and they're like, here, I'm gonna 5s and 4s. Oh,
and then they die.
And we're expensive, and they're expensive. So their ability for their Slinktalion battalion is murder, slay, now. If the Deathmaster from this battalion is set up in hiding as a reserve unit in the combat phase in which it is set up on the board, so it's only one phase.
What?
Reroll hits for attacks made by units from the same battalion.
That's terrible.
It's really bad. And then if you look at their stat lines, I don't care, but I mean, it's a 6-up save for Night Runners. It's a 5-up for gutter runners, and that's fine. Let them die, but let them like hit stuff first. Like gutter runners, they get 2 throwing star attacks, 4s and 5s, no rend, 1 damage. Awful. I mean, if they get a 6 on a hit and inflicts 2 hits, why not have them be like Venom and just automatically wound, or throw like poison damage, throw mortal wounds on top of it. Night Runners are terrible. I mean, they have extra throw-in weapons, 4s and 5s again. They get 1 attack. With their stabbing weapons, they get one attack. You get 1 attack on 4s and 4s with no rend and 1 damage. And these are the dudes that are supposed to be close combat ninjas. This is running death. They can run and still shoot later in the same turn, which, I mean, it's kind of cool. The shooting attack really isn't doing shit anyway. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, it's sad that Scryer Acolytes are way better than them. Like infinitely better.
Infinitely better. Like it doesn't even begin to stack up. Slinking Advance, you can roll before the first battle. You can roll 2d6 in it, and the Night Runners can move that far. They have a 7-inch move, which is nice, but I'd rather have like redeploy and then move, because they're supposed to be really fast. Even if you're not going first turn, they have a 6-up save. If people don't like them, they're gone.
Yeah. And Clan Eshin seems like it would fit into this story, because a lot of this is very underhanded, dirty stuff that's going on. Yeah, and that's what they did to the guy with the hat, the undead dude with the hat, Nagash. It was dude with the hat. It was gutter runners that completely screwed over all his big plans again. I love that the Skaven are always screwing Nagash over.
So like this book seems to play out almost like it's almost like a story. Like this is Act 1, 2, and 3. Yep. And this is what the rise of Morathi in these acts. Is that what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Act 1 is Morathi plotting. Act 2 is Morathi succeeding, and then Act 3 is what is Morathi doing with her power now that she has it.
Right. So here's the story arc of the Antihero, right? So then, what do you do with like the secret villain that's rising up? We have a minor villain. We have this like the idolaters. Is that what they're called? Yeah. You know, they're kind of they seem like a minor villain in comparison to other villains we've had, like Nagash or Khorne. They're a pain in the butt, but you know, Morathi seems to be dealing with them. Anyway, so now the next story has got to be about like something evil, something vile that's also rising up, because you all know that Nagash is currently the top dog with OBR. So I definitely see like Clan Eshin being like, all right, here's this other story about like Chaos. Chaos is doing their own thing while Marathi's doing her thing, and then in the midst of this, the Skaven are launching their little plot. So like in the next book, we're gonna leak a little bit of the Eshin stuff. So in this story, we're talking about the Skaven in terms of their stealthy, sneaky, annoying tactics to thwart the plans of both good and, well, not good, but order and chaos armies. And then maybe in subsequent books, they release more aspects of the Skaven. Because it follows, this book in particular seems to follow a story in what they're releasing. So, like, maybe Eshin's first, because Eshin is what the Skaven, they're like all about stealth, they're all about sneaking around. And I bet you there will be, like, as time goes on, major players from Death, because, like, obviously Nagash is the big enemy right now, right? He's taken over everything with OBR. And so Order and Chaos and probably Destruction all combined, I won't say they're necessarily teaming up to beat Death, but like they have the same enemy for the moment. And there will be like super special heroes that throughout the course of this story rise up within Death. So like you'll have all this stuff about Order, you'll have all this stuff about Chaos, then you'll have like mega battles where we introduce new heroes and characters to the game, as well as new battalions, and those will include armies like that.
Yeah. I think one of the possible general themes that we could end up with is all of the gods are very pissed that Marathi has ascended and everybody is gunning for her now.
Even more than Nagash, even though Nagash has completely steamrolled the whole...
Yeah, I mean, like, how would Nagash come into this? Like, oh, this upstart's trying to take my place. Like,
I mean, this is just her rising to power. She's not... She's powerful, but she's not, like, in control.
Yeah. And this whole, like, dual aspect thing seems like a weakness. Like, at least from a plot perspective. On the game board, it seems like it would be weak.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the game board, it looks pretty fucking good. It's like one of the few instances where, like, you get these badass characters in this game, right? Like, this guy has gone to Chaos and back. He has survived years and years of his life, slaughtering thousands of Slaaneshi demonettes and bloodletters. And then you put him on the board, and your opponent's like, I don't care about that. I'm going after your marauders. Whereas, like, Marathi is like, she's got a new weakness, but she's just flat out better. And she was already really scary.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to have to read a little bit about her.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Do you guys think that any factions will get revisited? Like anything that's already gotten an update, will they get another update?
That's a good question.
I think they will.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think everybody's going to get a little something. Little. Italian.
And Lucas W is saying she's already taken over a city, so if anyone's going after her, Sigmar. I think Sigmar cares a lot less than people realize. He's got one city. He's just like, whatever. We got a lot of cities.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I don't think she's this like ultra powerful force. She's powerful. She's finally established herself. She's got her city. Now she has a stronghold. That's it. That's all she's got right now. She's got her home base established. Now what? Now she's what, gonna be like she's instantly a conqueror? No. Nagash still owns like most of things. Like if you look at the beginning of the storyline in this book, Nagash is literally slaughtering and resurrecting thousands of soldiers across the realms. He is the ultimate bad guy right now with his Osiarch Bone Reapers, and he's just killing and raising the dead. Like how he just seems unbeatable right now. Like so now we need to create a storyline so that the bad guy is vulnerable to a degree enough to make the story interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go just touch on some other factions that we haven't mentioned yet. Like, for example, in order. What do you think Fire Slayer get out of this?
Maybe they'll make Hearthguard Berserkers better.
Yeah. Are you guys? I know you're being sarcastic. Like, what do you want them to? Every time I've played against them, it's been just like, I don't care what your army does. Mine just, we're just gonna do whatever we want. Yeah. I mean, we're slow, but we'll get there.
I usually play Fire Slayers. I have no Hearthguard Berserkers, but I usually play against them. And when we're actually still meeting weekly, I was playing KO at the time. So it was fun to shoot all the leaders out from underneath the Hearthguard Berserkers and then just mow them down. It's fun.
It definitely makes it easier, for sure.
Yeah. My prediction is we get a Fire Slayer Lodge that lets you use 1 in 4 units Caravan Overlords.
Is that what? Are they putting their god back together? Did the Fire Slayers get like crushed in the storyline?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think they did either. What were they? Is their god? I don't understand the Fire Slayers that much. All I know is they kick my ass when they get put on the table.
Yeah, the whole thing with the what is it, the gold stuff that they hammer into their flesh is like they think is
gold.
The Urgold they think is pieces of their god. So they keep trying to collect it all to reassemble their god.
Yep.
By hammering it into their flesh.
They hammer into his flesh and they actually suck out the power. That's what, like in their allegiance abilities, that's what gives them the cool new tricks they can pick every turn. It represents them actually like burning out the power in their runes. So they're always searching for more so they can hammer it back into themselves and regain those abilities.
Good Lord.
They're awesome. You sadomasochists.
I hate them. I hate them so much. No, it's just I don't necessarily hate them. It's just like every game I've played against them has been like, what's that one level where you just like the person who goes first and runs for the middle and just holds the objective wins? It was in the last book. I cannot remember what it was called. Duality? Is it Duality of Death?
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
It was so annoying. Like they would just run to. Every time I played that mission, it would seem like I got to play against Hearth Slayers, and I'm like, great. I'm like, and then we'd roll off, and they'd get to go first, and
that was it.
Son of a bitch! There's the game. And then they just go for the middle and sit, and I'd kill them all by the end of the game, and it just didn't matter.
Yeah, your best bet in that play. Do you have any blood priests?
Yeah, well, of course, like you boil the shit out of them, but it doesn't matter. They're sitting there and they're in their stronghold with their buffs. And you're just like, I can't kill you by turn 5. Let's just play it up and drink beers.
So any other thoughts on what Fire Slayers might actually get? Because I feel like anything they get is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because the Hearthguard Berserkers are so good.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get new units. If anything, they'll just get like updates. Maybe they'll get some more runes to play around with. Maybe they'll get a new battalion. Maybe they'll get a new faction, like a sub-faction.
It'd be kind of cool if they use like one of the, of course, the word just went right out my head. Those big lizards they ride. If they made a name character from Magma Drop. Sorry, if they made a name character Magma Drop and maybe made a little battalion with them from Volturnos, that'd be cool. I can remember the name of the lodge, but I can't remember the name of the Magma Drop, of course. I remember Skeleton with a big hat, can't remember Nagash.
Okay, you're a little rusty. It's all right. So while we're on dwarves, Caravan Overlords.
No.
I don't know if they really need anything either.
Don't touch them. Just just get rid of those. Tell them to go back to 40K. No, I'm just kidding.
I love that. Yeah.
So where do they fit into the story, though?
That's a good question. Is where do they fit into the story? Because I don't think there's.
Well,
they're so like the only thing I can think is that some part of them are very piratey, privateering.
Yep. The Mourner, correct Mourner.
Yeah, so they could get sucked into it just by being guns for hire.
They're all guns for hire. The other thing I was thinking that it seems to me that they might make this the future books based around different cities and the shit that's happening to Sigmar cities. I think that's going to be. It feels like to me anyway. That's going to be one of the main storylines. So what's happening in the cities of Sigmar, collapsing, rebuilding, new cities, whatever. But I feel like, if anything, the Caravan Overlords, they're the merchants. They would be people keeping these cities alive with the trade goods or whatever else, transporting people in and out of the cities. So maybe something to do. I don't know. Maybe they get a battalion with some cool mobility in it or something. I don't know. I can't get specific with that one. Just
I just kind of think they're like a side faction. Like they mind their own business. You guys kill each other. I don't think that they're going to play a major role in the story arc of Broken Realms. But maybe they'll have kind of like some minor roles where they'll release a war scroll, like you said, Des, where like, all right, here's a named boat. It's the super shuttle. I don't fucking know. And then like, yeah, this is the special taxi, and you can use this in any of these factions, and it gets a bonus ability, and you can carry people around it. All right, cool. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but I just don't see how they fit into this story arc outside of minor roles. Same with the Fire Slayers. The Dwarves have always been kind of like mercenary for hire, off to the side, standoffish. Hey, we don't want to get involved, but God damn it, you just attacked us. So I guess we have to.
I think that's where the dwarves from the cities. Now, this is what I'm looking forward to, is seeing what happens to city dwarves. I think that's going to be, I don't know what the potential is there, but I think they're going to play a big part. I can see some cities updates for them for sure.
Dwarf.
Legion's abilities. I would love to see them bring back like they're almost parallel to like what I was thinking about with Eshin, to bring back their like mining abilities, to be able to tunnel around places.
Yeah, that would be
cool. A little speed, because movement 4 is terrible. And give me a little speed, not all of them, just a battalion worth, or not even that. Who knows?
So almost like have a Dwarden style ability where like you could start the game with almost like a tide caller from Idenith, where you start the game outside the map, and he digs up outside of whatever, and there they are.
Yep,
the dwarves got him, and that's it. That's his shtick. But he can do it with other factions because it's kind of the whole Cities of Sigmar thing, where they're all fighting as one unit. Hurrah for Age of Sigmar, for fighting on the side of Sigmar, and the dwarves are helping the elves if they need it.
Yeah, weird, but it'd be cool to see. When they go back to the cities, dwarves, like give Jacob Bugman a war scroll. That would be a cool war scroll to see. I would hope. The new limited edition model that's sold out everywhere. Give him a war scroll anyway.
So more team oriented, or more cross-faction oriented abilities, you thinking?
Maybe.
So maybe they indicate that these factions are allying up and ready to help each other out. Maybe like look. All right, here's an interesting concept. You've got the two-headed dragon style what game? I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Where you have two players facing four total players, two on each side. Maybe they'll release some heroes that are specifically targeted for that style of play. Like here's a hero that you wouldn't normally take because he's kind of poop if you're just like, I'm just dwarfs, right? But he's kind of like an ambassador for the dwarves, so therefore he's good at working with other factions as well, and he's got like abilities that carry cross faction.
I like that idea. I'm gonna have to marry Jacob Bugman.
Yeah, Jacob Bugman.
Yeah, the brewmaster.
Yep,
There you go.
that's what he does.
He can toss brews to any cities of Sigmar faction and give them, I don't know.
Not +1 bravery, please.
No, not +1 bravery. Invulnerable, 2-up invuln.
A 2-up in. Well, I mean,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right. So what else do we have in order? We have Lumineth Realm Lords. Do we get a Lumineth release with this, or is it too close to when the army dropped?
Well, it depends on how closely Lumineth ties into cities of Sigmar. Are they part of the cities? Or
No.
are they separate?
They're totally separate.
They're going to have to be brought in through the storyline.
I mean, they're being led by Teclis, who's going to have a chip on his shoulder about Marathi achieving godhood.
Okay. They'll get a battalion, and they'll get my guess is they'll get a battalion, and they'll get a faction, like a sub-faction. And I think that's going to be the bare minimum in all these books is like Des was saying, I think every faction is going to get something, right? But some factions are going to get more creative things than others. Like maybe Skaven is a good example of something that I think might get something more creative. I think it would be a missed opportunity for them not to include some kind of like Skaven, Pinky in the Brain style antics throughout the course of all the books. So that you're telling this story, and throughout the course of the story, you're like, oh my god, but Skaven, like in your head all the time. Oh my god, they're gonna fuck it all up.
That's
no.
It should be.
Right, and exactly, like here's this overarching plot, but underneath it, you've got this little thin line of like Skaven plot that at any moment could erupt to the surface and like just throw everything into hell and chaos.
But yeah, they're the ones that think they have the overarching plot.
Right.
Stuff gets fucked up and fucks other people's plots.
Exactly. So like, is Lumineth going to be in it? Yeah, I think they will. I think they're going to just be like fighting in the midst of the Allied Order factions because I don't know.
Yeah. What if we get Lumineth later on in the Broken Realms series towards the end, and we get the quote-unquote other half of the Lumineth that everybody feels like there should be there. And we get a bunch of new War Scrolls, bunch of new unit releases.
So you're thinking that there's not enough unit releases and therefore there's a second book that's hidden, secret book, and they're going to be like, guess what, guys? Fucking elves! And everyone's going to go, yeah! They don't have croquet hammers! And
well, there's like only half of the of their faction is like represented units. So that's the thing, is that like everybody is all about Lumineth. It's like, okay, when's our second release coming? Because
they think that this is like half a book.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, look at Ideneth. Ideneth, I think, was a very thin book.
Fyreslayers too.
Fyreslayers too. I'm not sure that's the case. Maybe there will be another faction of elves. I don't know.
Yeah. And does Tyrion show up?
Maybe that's the trick. Maybe that's it. Tyrion. They have a very colorful history, Tyrion and Teclis.
Yes.
It's it's kind of creepy. It's a little creepy. I don't know. Did they like? They're like all about each other's family members. That were weird.
Yeah.
I gotta look that one up. I don't want to say anything wrong, but I don't know. Maybe he'll come back. Who knows? They've been releasing an army every 3 months, except because of COVID, probably not as often.
Yeah.
People really like elves. Did Lumineth sell that well? Was it a good sell?
I don't
know.
I assume so.
Yeah.
Great locally, but what do I know?
It seems like the Gargants sold well.
Did they do well?
Yeah, a lot of people are all about it. So I've been seeing a lot of really cool conversions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our last army in order, Seraphine. What the hell does Seraphine get?
They nerfed.
I feel like almost nothing is what Seraphine will get.
Well, haven't they always been kind of like standoffish because of their culture?
Yeah. It's going to have to be like something really crazy happens, and then the Slaanesh are like, fine, we'll send troops.
Well, right. Last time they were like, yeah, you guys, good luck with that. It just left.
Yep. Peace.
And then the whole world went to hell in a handbasket.
So I'm thinking they're like a footnote in the plot, and they get like battalions or something like that.
Yeah. And if they do, maybe they'll get some interesting like battalion where like so in for example, and I hate bringing this up because it almost has no like correlation between Age of Sigmar and Total War 2. There's a faction of lizard men that's kind of like a rogue faction, and like you said, maybe they'll just get a faction and it'll be just a unique faction, and maybe they'll get a hero associated with that faction, and he'll give bonuses to whatever, I don't know, units that he really likes. There's a Croxagore hero in Total War 2 who kind of just like he's like a rampaging barbarian. He's able to just march and conquer and destroy, and that's his whole shtick. He doesn't stick around in with other lizard men. No, he goes out and he kicks ass. But he's got like a totally different culture from the rest of the lizard men. He has like different beliefs and different alliances with other factions, and maybe that's what you'll see. You'll see like this unique lizardman faction that tends to work better with other factions, and maybe it'll tie into the whole like 2v2 aspect of the game. I think that's a big part of what they're leading up to is the 2v2 style of play.
Bigger games.
Yeah, like we're gonna release all these rules, and throughout the story, these factions are gonna have to band together to defeat the Ossiarch Bone Reapers because everybody hates them. And here's a bunch of cool abilities, but behind the scenes, like they're all gonna fit together to some degree for two-headed style play.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting thought.
I like it. That was kind of when you mentioned that earlier. I was like, oh, they could do like big apocalypse level games, just kind of on the same. Apocalypse is a game style in 40K that is just bring all your shit.
Just throw it on the table and like whoever wins wins.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Yep, bring all your Forge World Titans and all that stuff. So you could see something similar to that. It'd be fun.
Yeah,
it would. I think GW noticed how popular the team play format was, and of course, then they made rules in the new General's Handbook, and I think that's a good indication of the direction they're headed. Like they took that very seriously.
I think they're going to bump up like Path to Glory to be super important too. Because look what they did with Crusade.
Crusade
for 40K is basically Path to Glory in space.
Is that played a lot? I don't play a lot of 40K.
Yeah, Crusades seems to be super popular, and I know at least in our area, like Path to Glory
Was big.
Yeah, always.
So you have like a map, and like you kind of like do you like fight each other on a map, like what, or do you just like follow the straight Path to Glory tournament rules?
Pretty much just follow the straight Path to Glory tournament rules, and then based on the outcome, sometimes I'll write up little stories and stuff like that. But there's usually like at least 15 of us, so that gets a little time managing,
a little spicy.
Yeah.
Do you ever get a guy who just like rolls really well on those tables and has like this obnoxious hero that's
there was a unit of like 30 executioners with 2 wounds each. That happened.
There was also the Iron Jaws player that had the ethereal amulet on his like unkillable Maw Crusher that people didn't like.
Yeah, and he kept rolling more general upgrades.
Yep.
Just over and over. This dude was just, did he win?
No, he didn't even win.
But he had a blast. I'm sure he was like, all right, all money on the Maw Crusher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The thing was the wrecking ball, though. It would take out your whole army.
Oh my god, that's a great.
He had no army to back it up. So that you could spread around a little bit and throw some chaff at it, you were good.
That's funny. It's like playing against the Corn Dragon in that.
Yeah.
Except the Corn Dragon's killable.
All right. Beasts of Chaos we have not mentioned yet. Another footnote.
Again, I think they'll play a minor role. That's my thought.
Yeah. I feel like they need a shot in the arm, though. I feel like they'll get a little more attention. What they'll get, don't ask me. But I feel like they're one of those. If they're doing this to not only project a story, but to inject a little bit of life into those armies that need it, I think Beast of Chaos definitely need it, and they'll probably get looked at and probably get a few battalions, some new allegiance abilities, and they'll get buffed up.
I think they need a whole new book.
That's probably better, but in the meantime,
like if I'm talking about Khorne, I don't think Khorne necessarily needs a whole new book. I think they've got some fun, cool stuff to work with. And most of their units are relevant. It's just that like they need some extra bonus things to help compete with the rest of the field. I think Beasts of Chaos, because they're not like entirely pertinent to the story, I think they're going to get a whole new book. It really depends on their popularity and whether or not, that's a profitable endeavor.
Yeah. That's a good question.
I think, here's something I think, and I hope that this happens. I think that if there is a death like faction in here, I think those like Victorian style vampires will come back. And I think they're sick of Nagash and his bullshit. Because they're like ritzy. They're like, God damn it, that's so not classy, Nagash.
Yeah. Like, does Vampirates come out in the middle of all of this? Like, separately to it, but like injecting itself into the storyline.
So you think that the vampires are at sea?
I mean, that's what everybody is.
They're only saying that because of Total War II. That's all the reason. That's the only reason. And I love them. They're one of my favorite factions. They're actually busted in that game. They're so good. But
yeah,
I don't know.
If we get a vampire faction in here, like, do you think it's possible to get like a whole new army release in the middle of this?
Yeah, sure. Why not? They've been doing that for the whole time. They've been just releasing army after army. But yeah, absolutely, they could release a new army. Because these books, I mean, certainly they're going to sell models, but really they're going to sell books, right? Like, this is for all the people that, not necessarily, but like,
not at 1 or 2 per store, but anyway.
Yeah, well, you can order them online, whatever. Like, you can also get them digitally, as we know. Like you got all these little bonus rules for people who already own armies. So yeah, absolutely, they're going to release factions amidst all this. Why not?
I don't know about beasts though. They still. I mean, I could be off, but I still feel like they're relatively new, like less than 2-year-old book, aren't they?
No way, that's like 3-4 years old, I think. Beasts.
Yeah, I think that was early
Beasts
in the second edition cycle.
Yeah, Beast is pretty old now. It was the first book, I think, to get like a real serious piece of faction terrain.
Yeah.
Well, Nurgle did.
Yeah, but they got the tree, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the same level of like.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, September 9th, 2018-ish.
I don't know. It was a different level of faction terrain. When they came out with that, it was like, oh, it's not just a thing that sits in the field. Like you pray and sacrifice things to it, and it gets bigger bonuses over time. And there was a lot going on with that piece, comparatively speaking. You had Sylvanas trees, you had the Idenith boats, but like, and the tree, but like all those things had like very like low key static abilities, whereas I think it was the first piece you were really interacting with. Yeah.
So, Grand Alliance death. Since we brought up vampires, God, what do flesh eater reports have to do with any of this?
I don't know.
Services?
Yeah. I feel like they've got to be another footnote faction that just kind of gets honorable mention. Here's a battalion.
Yeah. Grungy. Will Grungy be a model? I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
You know what? Fuck it. Yes. Yes, he will. 100% guaranteed.
We got Bugman.
Yeah.
I'd like to see like it. It'd be cool if they got a dwarf book. All sorts of mechanical, like not infestations. What's the word I'm looking for? Like mechanical representations of Grungni all over the board. Like we have the Dwarven boat army. Let's have the Dwarven dreadnought army.
Maybe we could have a mixed faction steampunk army.
Yes.
Yeah, well, there was an interesting thing that got brought up in the lore of Marathi when she went after Anvilgard. There was a, quote, cog fort nearby that is a mobile steampunk fortress.
The Skaven.
I'm sensing steampunk terrain. I'm getting steampunk mobile fortress terrain vibes.
We could get giant kits, not just terrain kits. Like that cog fortress moves, right? It could be like a night titan. The Iron Jaws in a book I read, they have huge battle wagons that they ride around in. Goblins have ships they fly around in. The Blight Cities? Skaven have Blight Cities, and they're basically warlord titans that they put against the City of Life, whatever that one's called. But yeah, maybe we'll get big giant kits. That'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe like a giant like spider, like Howl's Moving Castle style fortress, like you know, and like you can put your dwarves on it and they can shoot off of it. And it moves.
That'd be buy that really fast.
And maybe it has no HP. It's just like it's manned, and however many models you put in it, like that's its HP. And it can do so many different things depending on like the sheer volume of dwarves that are inside of it. Like, oh man, the sky's the limit.
That's kind of funny because I was thinking about the orc battle wagons last night, and was in the same thought process. Like maybe it's it does better with the more brutes on side, like on it, like rowing it to make it go faster and whoever's going. And yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, how do you work that into the game? I don't fucking know. I don't care. I just want it.
It's fun idea. We're bullshitting on. You do it.
Figure it out. You figure it out, GW.
I feel like I want to get Doug from 2 Plus Tough on here to just get like all of the random obscure, like off the wall shit that is in AOS narrative that just has not hit the tabletop and be like, all right, guys, come on. We need cog forts. We need mech. We need a Skaven city that moves around. Like, we need all of this shit. Because, like, the other thing that was in Marathi was, like, the Black Ark Corsairs having a boat that's so big that it's a port for other boats.
A boat.
I like that.
Yeah, like, how crazy is that? Like, and how bad are like the Black Ark Corsairs and the Black Ark Fleetmaster? But like, they've got this badass ship. Like, if this was a naval game, they'd be all about it. They'd be the guys on top.
Yep.
Maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need vehicles.
Maybe.
Yeah. Do you think the Giants are going to tie into this?
I think the Giants are too close to the release of this to get anything.
Yeah, I think like anything else that's like kind of a recent release, they'll have they've left a sub faction out of the Giants book to put it into this.
Yeah.
There's like a mild like at the end of this, of course, you're going to have some big mega apocalyptic scenario, right? Like that's how GW is. They're like, here's the battle. The battle is happening, and then like these guys are all doing their own thing, and they all have their own agenda, and like these are the stakes, and then boom, and then
even
everything's dead. All right, new game.
Yeah. Do you guys think we're getting a 3rd edition after this?
Yeah.
I think so. It was hard for me to be like, it's time for it already, but yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah. My hope is that if they do, that it's like minor changes.
I don't think it will be
anything.
I think it's going to be major changes. I think there's going to be, like in the past, I think like some factions just don't fit in, the world of Age of Sigmar. And I think they're going to be looking to clean some of those factions out through the storyline, like they have in the past. And be like, all right, that's it. They're dead.
Goodbye. Yep.
Goodbye.
Don't do that to Slaanesh.
You don't know. I mean, you'll know if they include them in the story, but like I think that like armies like Stormcast are very safe. I think that
do you think they're going to be in every book or what?
A what?
Do you think they'll be in every book, and then at the end of it, they're going to press the button for the open another chamber at the end of the series?
Stormcast is a marketing army.
Yep.
It is literally the army that the 10-year-old boy walks in the store and says, "Cool, I want to play Age of Sigmar. Don't ever get rid of Stormcast. We'll lose players."
Yep.
Stormcast is a it sells Age of Sigmar is what it does.
Yep.
Yeah. It does.
That was something that was interesting. I went to it. We recently have a GW store up here and where I live, and every store you go to, that's like a privately owned mini store. At least the ones that I've gone to, and I've gone to quite a few. Like, what's your favorite army? Not Stormcast. You mean Sigmarines?
Yeah.
They're immediately like, fuck Stormcast. Like, everyone hates them on them so hard. It's like, these are the most unoriginal pieces of shit. They suck in the game, too. But you go to the GW store, and it's like, it's a different story. Like, they're very particular about, like, the way that they talk about armies, the way that they talk, the terminology that they use when they describe 40K versus AOS. Every army is good when you're at GW. And the walls are set up like display shelves, and Stormcast is front and center, man. And you don't realize how popular Stormcast is because we play this game every day. Or not every day anymore, but we used to before COVID, and we're well integrated with the community. 99.999 whatever, most of the world is not integrated with this community. They come into this store knowing nothing, and they see cool soldiers clad in golden armor with lightning and
hammers.
Yeah, and hammers, and that's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
no,
people walk in, they don't see the dwarves. Most of the time, they see the Stormcast, and they like the Stormcast, and it sells the game. They pick it up, and they find out Stormcast isn't the best, and then they go buy more. Yeah. So I hope they never get rid of Stormcast. I think Stormcast gets a bad rep, but like they're good for us.
For the game, just like Space Marines are good for.
Yeah, they're really good for the game.
I like both armies unabashedly. I like Stormcast. I like Space Marines. They're cool.
I like cutting their heads off and putting them on my pile of skulls.
That's what I brought to the boys with Stormcast.
I remember you brought your little shooty Stormcast.
Yep, yeah. It was too skewy.
Yeah, I like your list,
but I think it might work now because all the points went down.
I've been looking at it a lot. Yeah.
Did you play Vanguards?
Yeah.
Or did you play like you played the big giant like bolt thrower looking guys with the
castigators? I had a big unit.
Castigators.
I had a ballista. 3 units of Vanguard Hunters, and I had like 15. Jesus Christ, it was just in my head. The ones that everybody was scared of when they first came out. With the little, after the round of combat, they throw mortal wounds all over the place.
Evocators. They were pretty good. They just were like the Stormcast has no sustain.
Yeah, they made it better now. It's not at the end of the combat phase. It's at the end of whenever they fight. They do it. It's way better.
But whenever I played against Stormcast, because the game is like taken in turns, if you could engage the Stormcast on your terms, you always crushed them because it was like I get to pick where the action happens, right? And I'm just gonna pick the best spot for me, and then I get to attack first. And I'm going to hit you as hard as possible because you've got no sustain. Your guys don't come back from the dead. There's no like mortal wound saves. So I'm just going to like pick the worst possible case scenario for you, and I'm going to throw it in your face.
And they're not that tough either. Yeah. They die pretty fast.
It's just kind of okay. They're tougher than your middle of the road chaff unit. They're not especially tough. Yeah, they're just kind of okay.
Remember when Paladins had a 3-up save?
Yep. And they would throw out a lot of mortal wounds too. Yeah, I've killed Nagash a few times with those.
That's the other thing is like a lot of their units are kind of middle of the road good at like a lot of things. So they're kind of okay with their saves. They're okay with their damage. They're okay with their movement. They're not like overtly slow, but they're not fast. It's like, and so like they're costed in a way where they're like kind of okay at everything. But like being okay at something in Age of Sigmar, I think is a bad thing. It's you almost want to min-max all your units and have like different tools for the job.
Right.
And so like, okay, I'm gonna go like alpha strike you. I don't want a unit that's okay at it. I want to fucking kill everything that I touch in that one moment. And then like, okay, if you hit me back, whatever. But
it was shocking how well the castigators would do. The castigators would land. And units would just disappear. And then after that, they couldn't do anything. But they're fun when they landed.
Well, wasn't the same thing with like the Liberators, not the Liberators, the guys with the giant hammers. They're like two-handed hammers.
Oh, the Retributors.
The Retributors are awesome. When they first came out, I remember when playing against Stormcast, when they first came out, those things would drop down and you'd be like, oh, shit.
You could drop down within 9 inches. You could drop down, boom, I'm in combat, let's go.
Yeah, and then you're just like, well, shit, and everything's -1 to hit, and you're like, you just whatever they touched, they killed, and then that was their hurrah, and they could barely move for the rest of the game.
Yep. All right. So Grand Alliance death. We already kind of said Flesh Eater Court's probably going to be like a footnote.
Yeah.
Night Haunt need a huge.
Yeah, Night Haunt.
Yeah. Night Haunt needs something good.
But Night Haunt is the Stormcast Death Army. They're a marketing tool. They look really sweet. People like ghosts.
Yep.
It's like the not Warhammer player goes, I like ghosts. I want to play ghosts.
Skulls? They all have skulls?
Yeah. Oh man, they're flying. They have ethereal, like, I mean,
chains are hanging off of them. Yep.
Cool. Like, and the non-Warhammer player sees those for the first time and says, yeah, I really like that. And they want to get into it.
Yep.
I think GW did a lot of marketing to figure out like what malign potence, what is that? How you pronounce that? I can't remember.
Portents, yep.
Malign portents. What 2 factions would be in that box? I think they like had a lot of hey, would you buy this to like people that don't play Warhammer? And I don't think they did that as much with Stormcast and Khorne. I don't think Khorne was a good first pick for like trying to sell the game.
Stormcast was a weird first release too. I don't know. I thought they were weird at first. I can't tell you why. Just thought they were like, they didn't have that much personality. I guess it's in retrospect after seeing the Vanguard Hunters come out, and then after the Sacrosanct Chamber came out, the models are way cooler.
I thought the Dracoths were cool.
No, the Dracoths are pretty cool. I never invested into them, but that was.
And the Fulminators and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like I thought all those things were cool, and then the Star Drakes I thought were just.
Oh yeah, I still need to get one.
Yeah, I wish the pose was a little more dynamic though. Like I want him, like I want it arching back on 2 feet with the wings hanging out, and the guy on the back holding his weapon. Maybe even some lightning.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do much better now, can't they?
They can.
Yeah.
What do you think Night Haunt should get? What do you think would help them?
Who knows? I mean, it's something as simple as like Night Haunt gets a footnote, but it's a couple of battalions, but the battalions are really good. Like that could completely change Night Haunt.
So,
okay. People played Guild armies for a little bit too, didn't they? When it was a White Dwarf, I think, that came out with the Legions of Grief. Speaking of grief,
that gave Night Haunt some sustain because they could resurrect their ghosts. Night Haunt's actually really good against ranged armies, in my experience, because they kind of just appear up the board in your face and can charge you right away.
Yep. And
if you're playing an army like Caravan Overlords, you don't want to be in melee combat. That's kind of scary, I think. And if they're able to get some reasonable 10-up rolls on their charges with their army and like engage a very large section of your stuff, that can be a very serious problem in that KO army, I think. Especially because they have flying. They can pile in 3 inches right over your guys into the next set of guys if you're not careful. It's just that army can be such a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I got wrecked with my Skaven when they first came out. And it was all like, you rolled 10 there, and you rolled 10 there, and you rolled 10 there.
Yeah. And you just start falling apart. You're just like, well, shit.
40 clan rats only stands up so long.
Yeah, it's rough when somebody uses a command point to re-roll a charge that was successful because they're shooting for a 10.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. Burn all your command points, but you got those 10s, and now I'm in deep trouble.
Yeah, it can be real pain in your butt. Sometimes Night Haunt's pretty savage, especially against those shooting armies that focus a lot on like heavy rending attacks. But like they're light on attack volume, but they're like heavy rend.
Yep.
it could
Heavier
be
damage.
Yeah, that could be a big pain in the butt. High risk, high reward kind of scenarios. And then Nighthaunt will like bring dudes back, and you're engaged. You can't shoot the heroes. It's I don't know. Nighthaunt can be very good, but like against like really well equipped melee armies, they just suck.
They're done against Iron Jaws. A tournament I played Iron Jaws. I played against Nighthaunt 2 games in a row, and it was just total army wipeouts both times.
Yeah. I just don't think they stand a chance in those particular cases.
Even with Ethereal. Well,
so what do they need?
That's the
I mean, we got the sustain if you're playing against like an Iron Jaws player through Legion of Grief. Where do they fall into the story? I don't know.
Yeah, Nagash has probably forgotten about them in favor of OBR.
Yeah, he's got their magic. He's done.
See you guys later. You guys hang out back here and guard my sandcastles or whatever.
Maybe they'll take revenge, and maybe that's how Nagash loses his Nighthaunt's like, you know what? I'm sick of taking it back. See, you got your new girl, OBR, over there. I'm slashing your tires.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, what does OBR get out of this?
What do they need?
I bet they get something really lame, like getting Ivory Host rewritten.
I bet you they get a new like sub faction, and I bet you they get some like new minor heroes. Like here's a hero that like does a unique thing that your army needs but doesn't have, to help you play a different way other than the way you've been playing ever since it's been released.
So they can make like one of those harvesters a hero or something fun.
No, like something that's like, okay, this guy is just like purely dedicated to the horses. So now you got to play the horses. A battalion with horses and horse, or just something that's like not the little soldiers. I can't remember their names. What are they called?
Mortec Guard?
Mortec Guard.
They do not support them at all. No. We want to encourage you to play more ways than just one.
Yep. Maybe make like the Stalkers battle line.
Yeah, something. Just something that like encourages people to play a different way and also integrates with the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that idea. Stalker's battle line.
Yeah.
Everybody loves them. They're pretty strong, but you won't have many of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Necropolis Stalkers. Yeah. I was the four-armed guys. Yeah, maybe a Necropolis Stalker hero. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes.
He's got 8 arms. He's just like like the meme for General Grievous. All over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to go and make new heroes out of some of these kits.
I was trying to like think about like what would they do besides making one of the normal heroes a hero? Do something a little different.
Yeah, I mean, there's random stuff on
versions.
Brews that just doesn't have a war scroll. Like the Sorceress on Black Dragon had multiple builds. So,
Yep.
okay, now we have one of them's a special character.
Yep.
You know, the same thing with for Free Guild, the Free Guild General on Griffin has 2 builds, and one of them could easily become a special character. So, I mean, if we revisit factions, I could definitely see getting a scroll like for a unique Free Guild General on Griffin.
All right, here's something I think they'll do. I think that the apothecary thing, where you make your own hero,
Yep.
I think they're going to revisit it and they're going to refine it. They're going to make it even better. and the intent is going to be like, you could be your own hero fighting in the mega battle in the mortal realms, and like make up your hero that like participated in this like legendary battle, because there's like billions and billions of characters that are fighting in this mega battle, and you're part of it. You're part of you and your army.
That's in the General's Handbook, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're going to expand upon it for this.
I would like that.
They're going to add more to it. They're going to add new factions to it, new factions that weren't really expanded upon properly. And they're going to make it like, this is a real thing now. You can use this in tournament settings even. Like, go for it. It's fleshed out. This ain't beta anymore.
Good one.
I hope. I want that.
I feel like death and destruction in this narrative feels like it's going to be like the spoilers, like the guys that just kind of show up that are like a side story to what's going on.
Well, death is the ultimate antagonist already, but I think that's same with destruction. Like,
yeah, destruction I think is just going to randomly rampage through and fuck plans up, just kind of like Skaven do. Mm-hmm. Like what I could see happening, like for Ironjaws, is that they get a battalion that's like the one that Slaves to Darkness got, where they get one of their like mega bosses becomes a named mega boss, mm-hmm. and gets a battalion associated with him.
Think they do that again, or maybe they'd sneak in another direction and make one of the weird knob shamans a main character.
They could do that.
I agree with you, Paul. I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
They're going to put out the battle wagon.
Isn't that always been like Destruction's role though? It's like the ogres and the Beast Claw Raiders were like, they're hanging out, brawling up in the mountains, and then like we poked them a little too much, and then they came down.
Yep.
They're mad. I think that's always been Destruction's. They've always been they're always very in the now in their stories, at least from a high level. They're always very in the now. Like, I want to beat the biggest, baddest thing to death.
Yeah,
maybe they get
the new biggest, baddest thing. So here come the orcs.
Yeah, sure. That could be it. Seriously, I'm not even. I totally entertain that possibility. Although I don't think she's the biggest, baddest thing right now. I think this story is just, hey, here's one part of the mortal realms. Marathi's had some success, and this is what this story is about, and the next story is going to be about another part of the mortal world. Think kind of like Game of Thrones, where you had all the different factions and they all had their own agenda. This is her agenda in this overarching world. This is a unit. This is a world. This is what's happening in that one portion. But elsewhere, you've got maybe Malakite, like you were talking about. Maybe you've got the orcs. Maybe you got the orcs going like, look how she did that. She took that city. Let's go kick her ass because that's what we do. I don't know. Maybe, but I think they want Nagash.
Yeah, the interesting way that they could take the narrative of all of this and then make a lot of the releases make more sense and like the rules make more sense is if it's not just a story arc. If they go, here's what's happening with Marathi, and then the next book has nothing at all to do with Marathi. If it's just like, meanwhile, in the realm of metal.
And about that, like going to different cities or different realms. But they kind of did that within that one book. I don't know.
Yeah, like if they just kind of kept popping to like, meanwhile this is happening, meanwhile this is happening.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do.
All together at the end.
Yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay. And I think the end is where you're gonna see all these like beast men, where it's like they're there, but like they play a minor role. Here's how they play their role. The Slaans will leave. They're not going to be there. So anyone who likes dinosaurs, sorry. The Skaven will finally attempt to unleash their master plan, and it'll explode spectacularly. They'll have a section of the book, build your own hero for the ultimate battle, and lead your faction's army into battle, because like not everybody's it's going to be massive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you'll have the death. I think the death stuff will be in that final book.
Yeah. I mean, all of this is going to be hinging so much on the narrative.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is going to be, for me, the part that kind of trips me up, like in trying to make predictions, is like, where is the narrative going to go? I have no idea. And, all of this could be like a distraction, and the orcs have been building some massive wall out in the wilderness of like the realm of beasts, and they're all going to come crashing through a realm gate and take everybody down. Like,
is that what they do? They just get together and they scream.
That's what they do in 40K. That's what they do in 40. In 40K, there's Gazgul, who's actually super smart, super cunning, like outsmarts everybody in the galaxy and just smashes stuff, and he's gone. Takes over this, and he's gone. And he's got a plan, which is totally against what orcs usually do. So maybe we get an Age of Sigmar equivalent of that.
Yeah, that could be cool.
He's cunning.
Very cunning.
Very cunning.
Oh man. Yeah, Gloomspite gets. I mean,
or footnote.
What are they going to mistake for the Bad Moon? That's what I want to know.
Whatever the Skaven distraction is, that's what they're going to mistake.
Spacecraft orbiting.
Yeah. Right. Whatever the Skaven distraction is, that's what they're going to mistake for the Bad Moon, and it's going to blow up in their face.
Yeah, you know what? That's the starter box that I want to see. Skaven versus Gloomspite.
Yeah, have fun painting.
Yeah, that's a lot of little guys.
In Warhammer Fantasy, Skaven actually built a gun, like a lightning cannon, big enough to destroy the moon. So
do they build it underground, like using the ground as like a structure?
I don't think
Starkiller base
built it out there. Like,
yeah,
what are you guys gonna do?
they built Starkiller base.
Yep.
Yet they can't win a war.
They can accidentally empty an ocean, though.
Yeah. Whoops.
Oh, I love it.
Oh man! All right. Well, let's see what else we got here.
I don't know. We're basically through like everything. Got through pretty much all of the factions. I feel like that we're just in for a lot of cool, fun stuff.
I hope they do more with Savage Orcs too, because they're really like, the big WA book's pretty good. Maybe they don't need to do too much.
Yeah, they've kind of roped the orcs into one book at this point, I think. And I think that was very smart.
I do too. It's a great book. They could just add on from, like, I would collect just Iron Jaws, and now I'm getting more, Savage Orcs here and there, just because I can.
Of course you are.
Of course.
Why would they have separated them to begin with? I mean, outside, I understand the storyline, but like from a gameplay perspective, I don't think you really want the sheer volume of factions that they had.
Right. Yeah, that was overwhelming. That was very confusing.
I think there were some major mistakes made in those. Remember the 4 Grand Alliance books that were like the great realignment of everything that was in like first quarter of 2016, I want to say.
I own the Chaos and the Order one.
Yeah. I feel like there were a lot of mistakes made in there. that just reverberated for a long time, and I think we finally have them all fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
They
thing
kind of condensed everything. They almost treated Chaos as it was like one giant faction at first.
Yeah.
And it was weird. And then Khorne got its own book, and it was just like, it was crazy good.
Yeah.
Too good.
Yeah, I mean, there was that
Murder host.
delineation for a while, like whether or not you had a book. And like if you didn't have a book and you didn't have allegiance abilities, you were just screwed.
And Seraphine did not count. Neither did Beast Claw Raiders, because Destruction Allegiance ability was way too good.
Yeah.
Free movement every turn.
Yep.
He's a Sigmar complete
Stupid.
method anglers, totally agree.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that book is put together. I don't know why they kept all of the faction, like sub-faction keywords that they did. That was like, I feel like that was in part like the most phoned in book, even though there's a lot of really good things about it. It was like, here's all this shit that we don't know what to do with. Let's throw it in one book. What's all that clickety clack?
It was my keyboard.
Loud keyboard.
Some people are just talking to me, and I'm like, guys, I'm on a podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think the biggest release out of all of this is going to be? What's going to make the biggest splash?
Clan Eshin.
I agree. I say Skaven all the way.
Yeah.
I know it's not true, but I want it to be.
Yep.
I think Slaanesh is going to be the big splash.
No. Slaanesh is lame.
And then possibly vampires.
Vampires, maybe. I say big maybe, but Skaven.
Yeah. Vampires coming along. Like a lot of the stuff so far has been nautically related somehow.
I think it's coming. I think it's a book. I don't think it's going to be a splash release.
Yeah.
I think it's a book coming.
Mulder.
Clan Boulder. That is like my bottom of the pocket sort of pick for Skaven, because they could just rewrite a bunch of Molder War scrolls and like make that sub faction actually playable.
Yep.
I think we just like Skaven too much, okay? I think we all just like Skaven way too much.
Yeah. Well, Skaven are just fun.
Mhm.
Like they're a fun army to play. They're a fun army to play against. Like all of the broken stuff has gotten nerfed, so they're just a fair army to play and play against now. Like their stuff can randomly blow up. I don't know.
Yep.
Skaven are where it's at. Skaven are. I'm already planning Skaven. Skaven are my next project after I feel like I'm spent on Nurgle.
Yeah, I have a big box of Skaven projects I have to go through and start finishing up.
You have a big box of everything projects you need to go through.
Yep. I think Skaven in there.
Yeah. Did you finish your Iron Jaws yet?
Yeah, my Iron Jaws have been finished.
But your Maw Crusher still doesn't have a dude riding it.
Doesn't need one. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
Maw Crusher is.
Yeah. It's a feral Maw Crusher.
I thought he was on my table. I got to paint skin on him and he's done.
Yeah. Josh, have you delved into any armies other than Khorne yet?
Have I? No, I never will. I'm solidly in Khorne. If I do delve into another army, it will be Khorne related in the sense that it will be Slaves to Darkness. Yeah.
Or you could go Beasts of Chaos as well, because them They synergize well with corn.
I don't care. The reason I want to do slaves is because I want to do a Frank Frazetta style army with like lots of naked chicks lounging around while the barbarians like take them from their homes and run away with them on their shoulders.
Lamentations of the women. Yes.
Yeah. So that's if I do paint a new army, it'll be that. That is, I am firmly settled on it.
Yeah. Do you own every different model that is currently in Blades of Corn?
Yeah, I have every single one. Not painted, but I do own every single one. Every single one.
Including the Forge World stuff.
Oh no, I do not have the big demon from Forge World. The guy with the like skin strut, like it begins with an M. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I've wanted to buy him for a while. He's a named demon prince. What is it?
Is it Scarrick?
No, not Scarrick. Somebody's gonna say in chat before I find it.
Yeah.
ForgeWorld.com. Let's take a look.
I think he's in 40K too.
He might actually be in 40K as well. Chaos. His name is.
Yeah.
Mazerol, the Butcher.
That's the one I was thinking of.
He's got some sweet rules. But I will post a link in chat. Yeah, he's pretty unique.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've seen that one before, actually.
He's pretty good. He hits like a truck, but like he costs a little bit too much. He might actually be better now that like the artifacts aren't as relevant.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe I'll pick him up. But he's kind of expensive, especially considering we aren't getting. This is the main reason I haven't like spent a lot of money on Warhammer recently. Is that like everything's expensive when you don't play. And to me, while I understand there are three aspects of the hobby: sports, painting, and play. I put a much larger emphasis on play than I do sports or hobby. Even though I take hobby and sports very seriously, like those are very, very important aspects of the game. So if I can't play, I'm not as motivated to hobby.
Yeah.
Or be nice.
I'm usually motivated to do all three, but I haven't been feeling great. But at the same, I haven't been feeling as much motivation.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's especially tough to spend money on it when you know, like when you don't know when you'll ever get to use it. It's like,
yep.
I know I'll get to use this bottle of Applejack.
The majority of money that I've spent recently on Warhammer has all been paint and glue.
Yeah. I've done a lot of commissions. People still want commissions done. But aside from that, but the incentive there is not necessarily play, it's money. Even then, I'm kind of like not as excited because it's not personal to me anymore until like I can get back into it. Like it was so frustrating for me to not host a Boys this year.
Yep.
But yeah, whatever. It's what it is, and next year it'll be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, guys, I do have to get going.
Yeah. I was just thinking we've pretty much covered everything at this point. We've had a good discussion, made some predictions and prognostications. I think it's time to shut it down, kids.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll see you all next time.
All right. See ya.